And even today, Sunday night, I did it again every year. I take that book and I pray for every counselor and every camper. It took till 2 o'clock. You got a bunch of them this year, brother. It took till 2 o'clock Monday morning for me to pray through that book. Well, me and Carl would do that every year. That's the way we started.
What am I doing?
What is your favorite memory of camp?
My favorite memory. Okay. My first time back after the boys were born, and I came back and started counseling. I was a counselor, and I had Chase Holman and Hayden Brill in my cabin, and I woke up one night in the middle of the night, and they were painting each other's toenails.
Earliest memory of camp?
My earliest memory of Camp Caudle was absolutely loathing Scott Roderick because he went to sleep before I did, and he was a chainsaw. The dude was loud, so that was my earliest memory.
What is your earliest Camp Caudle memory?
Getting hit in the face by Jed Myers with a pillow because he thought I was stealing his girls.
I don't know anything about that.
I have a lot of great memories from camp as well. The fire ring was where I asked my wife to marry me when we were in college. I also fell in love with Eugene Qualls. We would take late night rides on his mule together.
Favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
The day I was baptized here at Camp Caudle down at the river by Carl Cook.
You remember the date?
It was 1994.
1994. Great. What is your earliest memory of Camp Caudle?
My earliest memory of Camp Caudle is my parents forcing me to come here when I didn't want to, and then enjoying it and never wanting to leave.
Let me kind of think about this.
No. What's your favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
My favorite memory of Camp Caudle is bonding with the kids in the Bible studies and getting to make friends that I didn't think I'd get to make.
Already got you. I need to know, what was your earliest memory of camp?
What?
Go. You have 3 seconds. Time's up. Quickly.
Yeah. I don't know. One time, Ryan Wolf's little hobo hockey thing that he loved. Well, one time, I was running my hand across it and got a big old splinter in my thumb. It took like 4 days to get it out.
That's great. Okay,
You're
great.
not filming though, are you?
Howard. So what was your first memory of camp?
Corey leaving and crying.
I'm gonna say that.
Yeah.
So, what were you not gonna say?
Is that thing on?
Totally on.
No, is there like a red dot?
No, it's just on. I'm telling you, it's on.
I won't know.
Well, you do
so I
sound
can't
real
say.
dumb for the video so far. Is it?
I did this once.
There's like 8 minutes
We
left.
started a video like
We
this
need to cut
before.
to it. What
Last
is your
year, that's how we're
first
gonna do it.
memory of camp? You just said it. Say it. Now it's on camera. Say it.
Say that.
You gotta say it.
You can.
What is it?
I love Corey. You know who my sister is?
What is it?
How are you doing?
I'm zooming in.
You're killing me, man. I was making
what
my
is it?
faces. I'm trying to make it as a model.
I'm down to 7 minutes here. I have like 3 other people I have to get to.
7 minutes? That's all you got left to make?
I preached a long sermon. I have 7 minutes left of battery.
Oh.
Oh, battery.
You're not even in the slideshow.
I am now.
What's your first memory of camp?
I had a good one.
Did you?
You're not allowed to tell it. It's a surprise.
Is it going to be on there?
Hope so. If you're good.
He's really recording. I'm hungry.
Dudes. Okay,
I couldn't possibly wait to eat any longer.
let's switch gears. What is your favorite memory of camp? That's an easy one.
Whooping Jesse off the trampoline.
Okay, you had one similar to Jesse. What was it?
My favorite moment came 2 years ago when I gorilla glued Jesse into his cabin, and he then turned into a gorilla himself and busted out the door.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
It was
one of my first memories of camp was at swim time. I remember we're all down at the creek and we're swimming, and I was in the shallow end and I was wrestling with Scott Roderick. I remember I took the hat off his head. It was a blue one with the gray bill he always wore. I put it on my head. He said, "Cody, that hat's cursed, man." He said, "Anyone who wears it is doomed to be single and childless for the rest of their life. Since that time, he went on and got married. I'm single and childless. Thanks, Scott. Thanks.
Angel, what is your favorite memory of camp?
My favorite memory was being proposed to at camp.
Who? Who was it? Oh, that guy. Great. Yeah, what is your favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
Favorite memory of Camp Caudle is meeting my wife on the porch swing of the director's cabin.
What is your earliest Camp Caudle memory?
My earliest memory would have to be my first year. We were 10 years old, my brother and I. We went down to the river the first day. We had our swim test. Everyone remembers the famous swim test we had to take. That's a joke. And kids were floating down the river. So day 2 comes, and they create a slip and slide, much like the one we have now. My brother and I were going down the slip and slide hand in hand, and all of a sudden Daniel yells and screams. And I look over, and in the filth of the dishwashing soap and baby oil is red, blood. My brother cut his knee open, and I remember Jesse running down the hill to pick him up. And of course, Scott Roderick, big old Scott, who is first aid certified and all this great stuff, and always taking care of things. And Scott came over, looked at it, and about passed out. That's my earliest memory of Camp Caudle.
What is your earliest memory of camp?
Earliest memory in my first year. Went down a slip and slide and went ahead and had my knee busted open. Came back that Friday, going up the hill to the retreat center. I hear Clay Blake yelling for my crutch. And he's, "Daniel, give me your crutch, throw it here, throw it here." He runs out and I toss it to him. And I see him run back, and he's at the fireplace there in the retreat center, and he's just slamming it down, we're like, what is he doing, And I yell, "Don't break my crutch, I need it, And he looks up and says, "I got a snake here." There's a snake sitting right there in the fireplace, and that's probably my first memory that I have of camp.
My greatest memory of camp is all the Bible studies over the years and all the people that have been baptized. But the 2 funniest things I ever heard or saw is one time a young boy was with me and Chris Eubanks and up at the retreat center, and he was sleepwalking. And then the boy walks out past us and looks up at the attic upstairs, and there's some boys up there, and he's speaking to them, and I'm watching him, and I'm still in bed. Just a few minutes later, he goes back, but he sleeps right above Chris Eubanks in the bunk. Then all of a sudden, this kid's standing right above Chris, and Chris feels his presence, and he goes, "Ah!" He gets scared, and you should have seen it. It looked like a white sheet. And Chris says, "Get back in your bed." And the little boy says, I want to play my Nintendo." And the boy hasn't moved yet. He's still there in front of Chris. He's still asleep. And Chris screams again, "Get in your bed!" And all of a sudden, the little boy climbs up the bed and goes to sleep. And that was hilarious.
And Dickie stayed in this cabin that the door faces the other direction, the back of that cabin. He stayed in that cabin, and Clay Blake and some of those Greenbrier boys stayed on the other side of that circle. It was lunchtime. Carl and I are sitting on the porch. Here comes Dick down that hill. "I'm going home." And I'm going, I don't take threats very well. Hey, if you want to go home, go home. We'll make it without you. That's kind of my attitude. We'll make it without you, but, I think you ought to at least tell us what happened. But what happened was, those boys would open their door and pick up a handle full of those gravel, and old Dick's trying to sleep over in that other cabin, and throw them against the door of that cabin. And then run back in their cabin. Dick opened the door. There's no one. He'd go back, they'd give him time to get asleep, just about asleep. Throw him again. The last time Dick got so mad, he busted out that door trying to catch him, and he knocked the door. There ain't nothing but rock standing there. He knocked it. Dick, if you want to go home, go home. I understand. But I'm going to take care of this. Really, I'm laughing inside. But I'm thinking, this is hilarious. But I got a counselor that's upset. So I go up there, I knock on that door, I open the door. Of course, all those boys are sitting there like, we ain't never done nothing wrong in our lives. I laid into them. I'm laughing inside, but I laid into them. You boys have just cost me a counselor. I have a hard enough time getting people to come up here and counsel you boys, and here you are running them off. I got these teenage boys, they are crying. You know, they're upset. And I'm laughing inside. I said, look, you caused a man to tear a door off of them. The next thing I know, they're crying. And they're over there trying to get that door back in there. And Dick's standing out there. He ends up staying. They end up kissing and making up.
Yeah, let's see.
You can't go. What is your favorite memory of camp?
One time, I walked into a cabin and my brother was painting Hayden Brill's toenails.
That didn't happen.
Yes, it did.
I spent a lot of years here at Camp Caudle, but definitely my favorite memory was when my husband brought me here in the fall in 2003 and asked me to become his wife.
Favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
The day I was baptized here at Camp Caudle down at the river by Carl Cook.
You remember the date?
It was 1994.
1994. Great. What is your favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
My favorite memory of Camp Caudle is the night that I was baptized.
You know the date?
June 21st, 2001.
June 23rd, 2000.
Right on.
My earliest memory of camp, really, too, I remember having a great time doing arts and crafts in the old mess hall. And I also remember at a fairly young age wetting the bed in cabin number 4. It'll be girls' cabin number 4, so congratulations, girls' cabin number 4.
One of my favorite memories of church camp was the year I met Josh Moore. I remember it was a Monday morning, time for morning devotional. Josh Moore was still in bed. Counselor looks at us, says, somebody get him out of bed, somebody wake him up, and starts going down the hill. So I run back in the cabin, jump on top of him, start screaming at the top of my lungs, good morning, beautiful, right there in his face, how was your night? And he's yelling at me, come, okay, come. Since then, me and him become best friends, go to college, we were roommates together in college, I introduced him to his wife, Shay. Anytime I go home to Arkansas, I make sure I go by his house and see him. It's something I'll take with me forever.
What is your earliest memory of Camp Caudle?
My earliest memory of Camp Caudle is my grandfather, Elton Blake, baptizing me in the creek the first year we had camp.
What is your favorite memory of camp?
Favorite memory would have to be me deciding to put on Christ.
You remember what year it was?
The year was 2003, and Chris Eubanks had given one of the greatest and best lessons I've heard here at camp. I always enjoy hearing him speak. After hearing him speak, I knew then what I needed to do, and what I love about Camp Caudle, and oftentimes I call it Camp Cuddle, is the love. The love that you have when you put on Christ, you really feel the family environment that we have here. And we've created so many unique memories and friendships over the time here that you really feel like this is a family. And when I put on Christ, I could just feel the love that we have here at camp.
What is your earliest memory of Camp Caudle?
Before I even started coming to Camp Caudle, I just remember walking into the old mess hall where they had services and just sitting in there for hours listening to people sing, and it was a real encouragement to me to continue singing in my life.
What's your earliest memory of Camp Caudle?
My earliest memory would be getting baptized in 1999. I guess my favorite memory probably is all the crazy times we've had up until together between all of us us guys, you know, late nights. It's been good.
You bet. Okay, Alan, what is your favorite Camp Caudle memory?
My favorite memory of Camp Caudle was back when we used to do our singing in the old mess hall on the back porch. And that was back when camp was a little bit smaller, and we would be so crowded in there that you had to turn sideways to walk between people. We had folding chairs in every space that was available, and that was the best singing. I would match that singing up against anything we do nowadays in the amphitheater. Jason Allman was there leading our singing, and it's best, and there's so many times that happened. Every year we would be there, and I can remember all kinds. That's where we had our talent shows, everything. It was a very, very homey feeling for me, and that makes me comfortable. It makes me feel good. That's a beautiful memory for me.
It looks like a monkey on a polar bear.
My second thing is, this is very funny. Clay Blake is the biggest prankster there ever was.
Okay, so I had Caleb and Dusty and Joey and Darren and that whole group of Mars Hill boys. I think Brett was in there.
And one night, I'm always staying up in the retreat center, but these boys got scared because someone came in there and scared them.
And I slept on the front right. Caleb was above me, and I'm sound asleep one night, and I wake up, and this ghostly white figure has stepped over the fan, because we didn't have air conditioning back then, has stepped over the fan that's in our doorway, and I'm noticing what they're doing. I sit up and I said, "Hey bud, do you need something?" And when I said that, they realized that someone was awake, and so this ghostly white figure jumps up on two of the bunks, feet on the bottom bunks, hands on the rails, and goes, and then turns around and jumps out of the room, gone. And so I sat there for just a second, because it's like one of those things, am I insane? Am I dreaming? What's going on? And so I sat there for a second, I said, "Caleb, did you just see that?" And Dusty said, "I did." And so I get up and I go look, and there's no one anywhere to be found. And so I'm looking around, there's no one missing from any of the cabins, so we come down and I say, "All right, I will go to the director's cabin. I'm going to tell David that there may be someone in camp. I don't know exactly what's going on."
They still don't know who it was, but what they did is they're all scared, and Clay's supposed to be the counselor, goes down and sees David Riley and says, "David, come with me." And they're all scared. The whole cabin's following David Riley, and they go to my retreat center.
And so when I said, "You boys stay right here." And then when I did, Caleb said, "No, I'm going with you." And then Dusty, "I'm going with you." So all the boys wind up going down with me because they're scared to stay in the cabin by themselves. And we knock on the door and we told them, and we scoured the whole camp. Like, we got in the four-wheelers, we got the spotlights, we covered the whole camp looking for an intruder in camp.
And then they go and wake me up. I'm asleep. And then they said they thought one of my kids had went down there and scared all these big little boys. And all I got's little boys. And I thought that was the funniest thing, a counselor like Clay Blake and them having to have David Riley come up there and protect them from some little kid that's in my cabin, which didn't leave my cabin because I was a light sleeper. So that was pretty funny, okay?
Never found anything. That happened to be the story of the ghost of Camp Caudle.
Hello everybody, hope you're having a great last night of the last session of Mars Hill week at Camp Caudle. I hope that everybody's enjoyed their time and learned a lot this week, and I know it's a special night for many different reasons. My sister asked me to give y'all some of my earliest camp memories and some of my favorite camp memories. A few of my earliest camp memories, one of the ones would be fishing with the guys in my cabin, Joey Walker, Darren Duncan, Josh Wise, or several of the guys that we would go down whenever we were real young. Put in where right when you walk down to the bridge, we would step in there and wade and fish all the way down. We always had an enjoyable time there. Another one of my earliest camp memories would be Shannon Allman's lessons. I know that goes year after year after year, that it's always an interesting lesson, and he always does a great job. But one of the ones that stood out to me and was the earliest one, and I guess the earliest one that I remember, was whenever he gave the lesson on the back porch where you all now eat, and threw pieces of bread, brought a loaf of bread and threw pieces of bread out to everyone. And also on that porch, Carol Seitz brought a message that talked about being a rainbow made of Christians, and that was one of the earliest lessons that I remember being at camp. One of the other early memories, for some of you people that have been there, some of the veterans of camp, you'll know Mama Joyce's white glove inspections is her and Robert Swain, but her early on coming by and checking all the cabins with her white gloves and reporting each day who had had the cleanest cabin and who had had the messiest cabin. Then some of my favorite camp memories, you guys will all know and understand this, the benches that are between the cabins up on the hill. The late night talks that we always had as young men with our counselors, growing up, learning things, just enjoying that time together. For me and for I know many other guys that have come through that camp, definitely one of the most special times of all of camp was being up on that hill late at night on the benches and talking and just having that time, that bonding time together with other men. A couple of other favorite memories would also include being able, just the singing that happened. When Jason led singing there for a long time, it was great, and just being able to go up there and sing with all the people that I grew up with and spend that time singing together. It was just a great memory. And then probably one of my fondest memories would be, I guess, a group of memories would be pretty much have anything having to do with Clay Blake. Any stories that he liked to tell, because you never really knew how far he was adding to the story. And then also anytime Jesse or Chris Eubanks could get under his skin a little bit. Always made for great memories. Hope you all enjoyed this last night, savor this moment. God has richly, richly blessed the Mars Hill Week over the many years that it has been happening at Camp Caudle, and I pray that he continues to do so as the work moves to Camp Areopagus. Thank you very much.
Second year. Southern Christian Home had a policy of needing to give their house parents a week of vacation. Well, in order for the house parents to get a week of vacation, they had to find a place for their kids. So they sent this group of girls and sent them to camp. And I knew we were in trouble when the lady who was taking care of the medication came to me and said, "Do you know what these girls are on?" I didn't recognize that. But it was high-powered medicine. One of these girls was a Native American descent. She could have broke me like a twig. I mean, she had muscles on top of her muscles. And another girl, and she was big as well. We made it fine till about middle of the week. We'd just eaten lunch, came out of that cafeteria, and someone out here yelled, "Fight!" Carl and I come up here. They were in that cabin that Curtis had been in. We come up here, and about the time we rounded that, here they come. There ain't room in those cabins to fight. These two big old girls, they're fighting in the hall of these cabins. They come rolling out. I'm thinking, now which one do I want? Carl grabs the smaller one. That leaves me with the one that could have broken me in half. We just put our arms around them. From behind, we put our arms around them, just pinned our arms to their side. And they're still just, I mean, they're picking me up off the ground, still going at each other. Calm down, girls, calm down, you know. I thought, well, it'll be on the news. Church of Christ preacher dies at camp.
What's your earliest memory of Camp Caudle?
My earliest memory of Camp Caudle is wrestling with Jesse in the retreat center.
My earliest memory of camp would have been my first camp session here, which was 18 years ago, where I met a smart-mouthed little redhead and a bubbly brunette who became my sisters very quickly, and that was Allison Martin and Ashley Houston.
Angel, what is your earliest memory of camp?
I was too little to stay in a cabin, so I had to stay in the director's cabin with my dad and Carl, and the canteen was there. But I was tempted to take candy, but I never did.
What is your favorite memory of camp?
My favorite memory of camp is kind of 3 in 1, but Chase being baptized here, and then me being baptized here, and then Shane being baptized here.
How sweet is that? All right. What is your favorite memory of
my favorite memory of camp? Alan Myers was our counselor, and Hayden Brill and I were. We were playing football and hold this, killing stuff, and turn that off.
My earliest memory of Camp Caudle was sitting right up there where those young ladies are sitting, where that red chair is, with Carly and Kelly Houston next to me. And it was a Monday morning, we were singing. Jason was leading, and it was Victory in Jesus. And it was one of the only songs that we sang that day that I knew, and I'd never heard it sung that beautiful before. And I'll never forget that memory. That's my first and earliest memory of camp.
Into the cabins, and who was it? It was an adult. I can't even remember who it was.
Brill.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
That's what I'm saying. It's Brill story.
Yes. And Brill starts throwing rocks up in the air to get the bats to chase it, and Seth, he throws it over there, and it comes down and just slams on top of Seth's brand new car, and Seth just goes off. He's like, "What are you thinking? There's a ton of people around here. You're 35 years old and you're walking around woohoo, throwing bottles of rocks."
Come on. That's all the funny ones, really. Who is this again?
He was scared of Jesse.
Who is this?
Well, who's not?
My son Jed.
And what are we talking about?
His crush on Elizabeth.
Oh, wait.
I would like to say that Camp Caudle has not just changed my life. Camp Caudle has been a big part of my life. I met my wife here. I became a Christian here. I led my first song here. I led my first prayer here. I taught my first lesson here. And I just want to say thank you to everyone through all the years who had any part in that. And I want you to know that what you've done has made a difference, and I hope that the young people here this year can be impacted in the same way.
What is your earliest memory of camp?
So we had a big pile of change out of Seth's car. He was cleaning out his car one night. And all of a sudden, everyone got real tired, so we were looking at this pile of change, and somebody said, "Hey, Seth's nostrils are pretty big. I wonder if he could fit that quarter up his nose."
He did.
So Alex decided to make Seth do it. He stuck it up his nose, and then he started feeling around for it, and he realized it slipped up another level. He tried to reach up with his fingers, couldn't even feel it. So we turned him over, shined the flashlight up his nose. We had to get it out with some tweezers. So that's my earliest memory.
What is your favorite memory of Camp Caudle?
Camp Caudle is where I learned about the Bible. I didn't know anything about it before, and David Riley sat on a picnic table with me for hours discussing the Bible with me, and that day I took on Christ, and I have loved the Lord ever since.
Okay, what is your favorite Camp Caudle memory?
Favorite memory would have to, of course, be obeying the gospel here.
What was the year?
July 8th, 2003. And I think the only session we had of camp in July. It was crazy. But then my other favorite memories would have to be standing out in 95-degree, 100-degree weather, and us singing in the amphitheater and getting chill bumps. It's the only place in the world you can stand, be sweating, and get chill bumps at the same time.
May my steps be worship, may my thoughts be of praise, may my words bring honor to your name. May my steps be worship, may my thoughts be of praise, may my words bring honor to your
My oldest and most favorite memory is the day David Riley asked me to be a counselor. It's my favorite memory because that day has led to this day. And it's my favorite because all the time in between those 2 days has placed so many special people in my life. People that I love, years and years of people that I love, like I love all of you. I pray that when you find someone like David Riley in your life, that you have the sense to tie a knot and hang on, because the journey is so worth it.
And I was preaching in a gospel meeting at this same place called Harmony Mountain.
Yeah, that's...
Harmony Mountain. And Jesse, at that time I was starting Hispanic congregations, and I was just doing a bunch of stuff, and I was exhausted. And Jesse came to me that that Saturday and said, I want to drive you. Because I was going to go preach in this gospel meeting, going to drive to Romance and preach Adam's mama's funeral, and then drive back to Harmony Mountain for this gospel meeting. And Jesse said, I want to drive you. He said, you're too tired to be driving. I want to drive you. Well, that's great. You know, so Jesse drove me up there, and we start from Harmony Mountain. We start to Romance, and Jesse and I start talking about the Bible. And we talk all the way over there about being a Christian, how to become a Christian, why you need to be a Christian, and all of that. I preached that funeral. We get back in Jesse's truck, and I don't know whether y'all have ever rode with Jesse or not, but he don't know nothing but flat out. Jesse doesn't say a word, and I'm thinking, I made him mad. He didn't say a word, so I just kind of stretched down in his seat thinking, boy, I hope he don't wreck. Open my Bible, getting ready for that night, because he's not going to talk to me. In a minute, he says, what time do you think we could be back at the Mars Hill building? I said, well, Jesse, that services get over, I think, at 7 o'clock or something like that. We should be done about 7 o'clock. Take us an hour to get back to the Mars Hill building. But why are you asking? He said, because I want to be baptized tonight. And I start in on him. Well, you know, Jesse, you don't have to wait to get back to that Mars Hill building to be baptized. If you'll just slow this truck down, we'll find a creek with enough water in it. We can baptize you on one. Oh no, I don't want to do that. I said, well, we're going to go by the Choctaw Church of Christ. They've got a baptistry in their building. We're going to go by their building. I'm sure I can get a hold of somebody. We can stop there. We don't need to wait, Jesse. Oh no, I want to do it at Mars Hill. So Jesse was the only one that had a cell phone at that time. He had. I said, okay, well, I can make a call, make sure that everything's ready. He said, okay. So I called my dad, or I forget who I called, but anyway, I called somebody. I said, it's going to take us a while to get there, but would y'all turn the baptistry on and get it warm and get things ready? Because we're coming back. As soon as I get through, we're coming back. And this was at Harmony Mountain. You and I don't know who else was with me at Harmony Mountain that evening for that service. And Jesse and Anissa, they raced to see which one could get back to the Mars Hill building the fastest. And I'm telling Jesse all the time, Jesse, you're not a Christian yet. You die, we die, I go to heaven, but you go to the other place. Jesse, slow this truck down. We get back to the church building, and every member of the Mars Hill congregation has been sitting. They sit there the whole time waiting on us. They all love Jesse already. And everyone were sitting there waiting on us. That night, Jesse became a Christian. He's been faithful. He's strong ever since. He's just been the best. Those are great memories. I've had the best life. And I'm through. You got me crying. That's enough of that.